globalised world where people are travelling much more than they ever have before. With the current recession, thousands of young Irish people are choosing to immigrate abroad for work, to Australia, to Canada, to the Middle East. Some will choose to permanently relocate and integrate into their new culture, but for most at the back of their minds will be the expectation of one day returning home to Ireland, be it after a few years or a few decades abroad. These returning immigrants will bring back with them their kids, children infused with both Irish culture and the culture of their adopted home. Sociologists call the culture of returning immigrants third culture kids, TCKs or global nomads when they become adults. I'm Rebecca Sexton and I'm a TCK of the 80s recession. My parents are born and bred Corkonians who immigrated to Qatar, a tiny country in the Middle East, in 1988. I was born in the Victoria Hospital here in Cork and then swiftly whisked back to Qatar where I was raised until I was 18 when I came back to Cork to attend university. Today I'm going to meet Kelly McHugh, an Irish national TCK with a similar Middle Eastern upbringing to mine. Given that in 1984 the sociologist Ted Ward described TCKs as prototype citizens of the future, we're going to discuss what it's like to be a TCK and whether Irish society is set up to cope with the TCKs of the 80s recession and the future. So let's go. Hi Kelly, thanks for meeting me today. Okay, let's get the most difficult question out of the way first. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Ireland, but I moved over to Saudi Arabia when I was 5, and I lived there for 7 years, and then I moved over to Bahrain for 6 years.
So are both your parents Irish?
Yeah, both my parents are Irish. My dad got a job with an engineering company in Saudi Arabia, so he moved over there for a year, and then my mum followed with me and my sister.
And how do you think you'd be different as a person if you grew up in Ireland?
I think I'd be less cultured. I think because I was brought up in the Middle East, I'm more open to different cultures, whereas I don't think they are so much here.
So why did you move back to Ireland?
I moved back because my family, my extended family, like my aunts and uncles and grandparents live here, and my parents thought it would be a good idea to move here to go to university or college as opposed to going to England where I knew no one.
And were you classified as an international student in your Irish university applications?
Yeah.
And do you think this was fair?
Well, not really, because I am Irish, so I thought maybe it was a bit unfair, because it restricted me in ways I could apply and stuff, and the fees are a lot higher.
How did you feel about moving back to Ireland? Was the experience difficult?
Yeah, I hated it at first, and I dropped out of college halfway through my first year because I just couldn't settle, and I went back to Bahrain. And then when I moved back then and I did journalism, I was much more happier because I knew what to expect when I came back the second time.
Most Western expatriates in the Middle East live on compounds with swimming pools and tennis courts and have maids and gardeners. Do you feel under pressure to censor your experiences to your Irish culture peers because the lifestyle is much different here?
Yeah, mainly because they won't understand, but because everybody has them in Bahrain, and in the Middle East. They just do, because it's just a thing that you just have. So sometimes it might pop out, like I might be saying something and I'd be like, oh, my maid, and then they'd be like, oh, what, your maid? And they think it's such a big deal when really it's not, so sometimes I don't bother saying it.
Do you think your Irish culture college peers treat you any differently because of your background?
Yeah, they do. They say, like, they make fun of the way I talk and stuff like that, but that's only because they're all from Cork, so I don't think they know any better.
And now to the future. Do you plan to stay in Ireland after you finish your degree?
I don't plan to. I like to travel and move elsewhere. I like it here, but I don't love it. Like, I'd like to work somewhere else.
Where do you think you'd go?
I'd like to go back to the Middle East, but I don't know if that's an option. So maybe America, or I don't know, anywhere.
Cool. And if you have children, would you be comfortable raising them as expatriate kids?
Yeah, definitely I would. Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure interviewing you, Kelly. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy Christmas in Bahrain.
Thanks.